like to have seen. Pantheon now is aimed towards a Frederick and
Jarvan.
now LeBlanc as well. Will it be third time in a row?
Will it be the Jarvan first pick again? This is pretty much identical. In fact, I believe it's identical to game number one's pick and bans with that Pantheon ban. It didn't affect Giants in game one of the series. And reason now, do they opt for the same strategy again? Do they mix it up? There is a lot open here. Okay, they are going to mix it up.
Okay, so they take away the Thresh here. They'll be giving that to Libik, taking it away from Rydle. They know that's a big factor here, but Giants thought they'd take away the Jarvan and they'll take away the Corki.
Okay, and they had to account for that Jarvan going over. They wanted to give Libik the better champion. He had a great game in the last game. Unfortunately, it was a spectacular game, but ended up losing it for Libik. So that didn't work out for them. Now, Corki and Jarvan have gone over to Giants. That's two very strong picks right now on 421. And very strong picks for Giants just in general as well. We know they like those two champions.
Right, so, okay, that's the Ezreal locked in immediately. So Celaver takes that one here. They'll be taking it away from Adryh, who's had it in the last game. So they'll be taking away that pick. There's lots of picks here that are being taken away from other players, denying that from them in this game. And there's the hover over Elise. As a pocket pick, this is something we've seen before, so it wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary.
I wouldn't even say it's a pocket pick. A lot of the European junglers are picking Elise, and a lot of junglers from other regions around the world have been very vocal on Twitter that they don't think Elise is quite as strong. There's a lot of discussion about Rengar from the likes, Dexter's been talking about it. I know Impaler's been tweeting about it as well, that they just don't think Elise is up there with a lot of other champions. So very interesting to see Xayoo picking it up, and he hasn't had success on it against Giants at all.
That's the funny thing, we actually haven't seen any Rengar in the EU LCS expansion tournament. Saw it in IEM, saw it in OGN, but we haven't seen it at all heading into this tournament.
We saw Crumbs play yesterday in IEM, so obviously there's just this regional divide that nobody really feels confident in Rengar, but Pepinero feels confident.
He does indeed. So this is Ahri again for Pepinero, and well, he's done well with that pick, so why change up?
Yeah, 3 in a row that they've let him have that. And there's the big question on this game. You had to read it from Werlyb. Reason, I guess, should answer with the Renekton here. It'll give them that early game pressure that they're going to need to get an advantage on, but they have to dominate this Jax. They have to put it behind. They cannot let Werlyb just kind of sit around in this game. The other option could potentially be a Lissandra, but that again has to crush Jax. You've got to stomp him out early game.
Yeah, and that's just an ongoing theme that Reason Gaming have been struggling with through all the games in the EU expansion tournament. They've just not been aggressive enough. We saw changes from them in the earlier rounds where they are now more aggressive. They have more of an early game punch to them, but it's not been enough to shut down specific picks, and in this case Jax, which is the pick you have to break down. They're still thinking about this Lissandra pick, but what they have locked in is the Orianna for the mid lane for Takefun this time around, so he's going to be taken away from his assassin champion, even though he did very well on the Fizz last game. Gnar again, neither team has really wanted to touch it, and Kubon said he wasn't going to pick it, but here we go, final game. He's going back to it. And
what is our final? So it's support. Normally Rydle would just default to an Alistair here. There's a couple of options for Rydle, but that Gnar is an interesting pick. You heard in the interview with Kubon after the End Faculty series that Kubon said, we thought Gnar was just very strong, still OP. A lot of top laners say, yes, he's still very strong, but his lane bully presence just isn't quite as good as it was on previous patches. There's a lot of other champions that can stand up against him. It's his team fighting that is really where his bread and butter is. The problem with that, game 1 and 2 when they picked it against Giants earlier on in this week, he did not have the effect in team fights. He was not present in game 1 at all, hardly ever used teleports, so they've got to make this work a lot better from them. They have good team fight synergy with the fact they've got the Orianna ultimate alongside the Gnar, but this was a very delayed lock-in here for Giants for their support.
They took their time with this one, Stress, and it will be Morgana coming out here for Rydle, so this is another champion he had in his back pocket. He'll be bringing that to the table this time around. He will be moving away from the Alistair that they had last game. Now everyone will be swapping up into the respective positions. We have that Jax Gnar matchup in the top lane, and as you mentioned, the kind of big team fight pressure from Reason Gaming with that Gnar and with that Orianna.
So with that Morgana being locked in, it's something we've seen a little bit down in OGN, and you know, I think Monte Cristo was the one that was talking about it, and whenever you see Thresh, Morgana is always an option just for the lane presence. You're able to just use that black shield, and From their Giants, you know, they've got a fair amount themselves when it comes to team fights. They've got Cataclysm, they've got Morgana for the Soul Shackles now as well. And they've got enough early game to allow Werlyb to just kind of patiently wait out the rest of the game and become that late game monster again. This would be far too many games in a row that I found myself saying that for my liking.
Well, Kubon, you know, might message Frederick and be like, would you kindly use your Cataclysm to set me up for my Gnar ultimate? That would be great. If you can Cataclysm your own team, that would be fantastic. But yeah, he was taking away that pick there. So while they both do have this team fight potential, Jax is still a big issue in this game, and Reason Gaming, we have to see them do some sort of early gameplay, put more pressure onto that Jax pick.
And considering the lack of confidence in Gnar Kubon had, this is a risky play, I feel. Normally seeing a Gnar, you'd say it's not risky at all, but on Reason, I don't know whether they're quite as confident as they could be on that Gnar pick.
Yeah, but for maybe the last time, we're heading into this game between Giants and Reason Gaming. So Reason Gaming here, Kubon in the top lane, Xayoo in the jungle, Takefun in the mid lane, Celaver and Libik will be the bottom lane duo for AD carrying support.
Yeah, Giants, on the other hand, are one game away from the LCS, and it's Werlyb in the top lane on that Jax again. Frederick has his Jarvan in the jungle. Pepinero 3 games in a row on Ahri, Adryh on Corki, and Rydle on that support Morgana.
So make sure to head over to Twitter, tweeting at LOL Esports using the hashtag LCS expansion. Get your thoughts over to us for maybe the last time in this entire tournament, the EU LCS expansion. Giants versus Reason, 2 games up on Reason Gaming, and here we go. Celaver is maybe called out here. The hook, or rather the binding lands around here. He is stunned down, and the charm as well. First blood goes to Adryh.
Oh, that is not how you want this game to start if you are on Reason. That is just a big kill early on. That's going to make that bottom lane pretty difficult now as Adryh goes back, picks himself up a long sword as well, and man, bottom lane is going to be a tricky area for Reason to compete in for now.
So it doesn't seem to matter whether it's a binding or a hook. Rydle's going to hit you with it.
And you know what? Giants have done that a couple of times now already. They've been pressuring into that bottom side. Celaver should be aware of that, and the binding out of Rydle shows that he's not only a Thresh player. I guess that's where the hook came from. You're kind of expecting,
I just assumed
Rydle to be on Thresh. He seems to be pretty good with landing them skill shots.
Indeed. And those bindings last for even longer than those hooks, so it will be pretty difficult. And audience clapping away at something. Kubon here heads up into the top side. Frederick and Werlyb will be clearing away these ancient Krugs and the mini Krug as well. Adryh and Rydle, feel like we've seen this one before, pushing Celaver and Libik away from that ancient Krug, so they won't be able to get that extra experience. But this time around, we'll be pushing forwards here. Takes a Mystic shot to the face, but Libik as well turns around, takes so much damage from that Phosphorus bomb. Maybe trying to set up the minion wave, but do decide better of it as he takes a Mystic shot in return. Top lane though, Werlyb taking some punishment by Kubon. Frederick now coming for this level 2 gank though, does have the counter strike, will be flashing away from this one. There's the flag, there's the drag. Follows up with the auto attack as well. Does he have more in the tank? Yes, he does. Frederick gets a kill.
An early kill up in that top lane, and this is very reminiscent of game 1 of the first series as Kubon just getting shut down early on, and that is not something Reason can afford. He's still 0 CS in this matchup, did not have anything to begin this game, and Werlyb already has 2 assists to his name.
Oh man, this just brings me back to the Millennium series where in the 3rd game, Frederick changed up his playstyle, didn't sit in the mid lane and actually chose to go into the different lanes. That level 2 gank as well. We've seen this before.
And that was just a very smartly worked gank. They started the Krugs there and just go straight into the lane. A 0 buff gank is not something you see very often at all, and Frederick just made it work, completely punishing Kubon.
Bottom lane though, Reason Gaming are actually ahead of Adryh and Rydle, just by a little bit here. Not the hugest of margins, and they will have to accelerate that to make up for the deficit in the top lane. 14 CS to 4. And Werlyb being ahead in the lane, where Gnar is, has a pretty strong laning phase. Maybe not the lane bully, but definitely a laner that can defeat other lanes.
Yeah, definitely. But that bottom lane matchup seems to be going fairly well for Celaver now that he's back in lane. But Frederick maybe wants to have something to say about that. It's going to be a little tricky to get in on an Ezreal this early on, and a hook has landed onto Adryh. Ooh, forced the flash out from Libik.
Yeah, Frederick comes down, gets the flash away. Was not the right time to land the hook. That's another thing that Rydle has over his counterpart. He knows when to land the hooks, not just that he can land them. Now on the top lane, Kubon will be coming in here in mega form, locks down Werlyb. Xayoo comes forwards, trying to land that cocoon. Will be flashing forwards, doesn't land it. Boulder toss goes wide as well. Kubon comes up with some more damage, but they burnt a lot and yields no results onto Werlyb.
Yeah, they got the flash, which is a big play early on, but Frederick is looking perhaps for more than that in this middle lane as Takefun is in a bit of trouble.
Flag, drag, flash away from Takefun, and that's Frederick's telling the enemy team that's how you gank burning summoners.
So Frederick's now had an impact in the first 4.5 minutes in the top lane. He got a kill. In the middle lane, he's just burned a flash and got a flash in the bottom lane as well. He's having so much more impact on this game than Xayoo is, and Xayoo is pretty much even on CS at the same time. So Xayoo and Frederick, although Frederick is still only level 3, really, oh, he might be caught out here though. Will it check? Nope, goes for the crab instead.
Frederick will be heading into the mid lane here. Bot lane once again trading off in this game. And Xayoo will be clearing out his jungle as well. Does have the gift of heavy hands, so gets the extra stun as the Rain champion in the jungle will be taking less damage from those jungle creeps as he's able to kite them around. Mid lane though, xPepii here up against Takefun. Takefun has a small CS lead, but will that Orianna just be too slow in this game?
That is the question. She does scale very well into the later game, but I want to take a note of something Frederick just making use of the swipe he did use on the Raptors. Got a ward out from that top side, so Kubon is now in a lot more trouble than he was. Could have maybe been a bit safer with that ward there, but Frederick is now finally going to head back and see what he's going to look to pick up.
It seems like every single game here that the summoners are always burnt by Reason Gaming. You can see 4 out of the 5 flashes are burnt from Reason Gaming, where Giants actually have 4 out of the 5 available for them. Well, you were talking about those jungle items. They has picked up the Stalker's Blade on both sides of the table. Both of them have picked that one up. Looks like Frederick may be heading towards his Warrior enchant over the Juggernaut, while Xayoo is sticking to his guns, maybe heading towards the Juggernaut as well.
Yeah, the other option on that is Xayoo has been picking up Sightstone very early on Elise, so that is another option here out of the jungle. But Xayoo, again, has to just get into this game early on. Frederick is just beating him around the map. And that's been the same in multiple games. It's not even just this game that's happening in, just again and again. And as you can see, Takefun trying to be a little bit greedy, taking away the Raptors. Nearly got caught out by Frederick, but Xayoo was still around. This could be a precarious 2v2 right now. xPepii is 6, so is Takefun. So it's now all on those ultimates. It's difficult right now to catch a shockwave onto somebody like xPepii. Does have that ultimate to get away, and that makes Orianna a pretty difficult champion to get to work now. She has about 20 minutes of no real effect on the game. You have to try and shove in, but you're not all that quick. But speaking of being quick, ooh, that was a quick dash away.
I've gotten to
away. You've gotten to me. You've broken my brain.
A quick derp away from Celaver here. We're getting back to safety.
There's been many a derp away. Oh dear.
Frederick moving down into the bottom lane as well. He'll be trying to get into the action. Xayoo as well just clears up his buffs. And again, his influence on the early game has not been as much as Reason Gaming need. And Werlyb in the top lane still ahead of Kubon. So everything, when you look at this and you take a step back, Giants are just winning all over the board, and their late game prospects are better.
And, you know, Reason have just kind of fallen back into a defensive playstyle that we've seen out of them in previous games, and that's not the position you want to be in. By the last time, they'd kind of pressured xPepii out. Last game was the one that they'd really taken that early lead, and it seems to have really got to them, the fact that they weren't able to convert it into a win. xPepii is going to look to roam, but is going to cross over a couple of wards here, so Kubon should be able to get out of here. It just depends. xPepii is going to use his ult early, though.
Yeah, Spirit Rush comes in. We'll be using the second charge. Looking to third one here. Werlyb doesn't get in range for the counter-strike, but lands the charm over Deception, gets him on the reverse swing. 3-0 in total. Giants take a commanding lead in this game.
And they want to step perhaps closer to that 3-0 mark for the series, because another well-worked pressure out on that top lane. You can see this Gnar pick just is not working working for Reason at all. They have struggled to deal with Werlyb. And Werlyb now has 3 assists to his name, and this is just not shutting out the Jax that they needed to.
Is this just a mentally crushed Reason Gaming, though? Because after first game, they just haven't looked the same. It was such a long game to lose as well, with Giants coming back after such a long game, with Reason Gaming actually leading for a significant portion of it. And since then, now with the Gnar pick as well, something they said they weren't going to do. And it absolutely isn't working out. 0-2 in this game behind that Jax, which it really needed to work. But still, they do have a pretty good team fight if they can get to it.
If they can get there, that is the question though, because Kubon in the first game just really couldn't get to any of the fights, didn't have teleport available at the right times, and when he did appear, didn't have his rage meter filled up, and you can see, whoa, that damage out of Werlyb already, but they turn.
Oh, he'll jump back in with a counter strike. Oh, just put him down.
Wow. Okay. Jax getting a 1v1 kill this early onto the game is a massive blow to that top lane matchup. He has a Sheen, but normally you have to wait for Jax to get a Trinity Force plus another item to even be able to deal with somebody this early on. Kubon is in such a difficult spot that I don't know how they're going to recover from this. And Xayoo might be caught out as well.
Or maybe Frederick, though, but yeah, he turns around with the Cataclysm. He gets dragged into the team with the Death Sentence. Frederick goes down for the first kill for Reason Gaming. Shockwave will be flashed away here from Pepinero, so they do take away his flash, and they do pick up the kill onto the jungler of Frederick.
Yeah, that's Reason now starting to pressure out the map a little bit better, bringing up Libik to that mid lane area. Oh, Kubon, not again.
Oh, almost though, and that was just an auto-attack and counter-strike from Werlyb. Hits him with that lamp, and will take him so low. Pepinero heading into the top lane here, Stress. And this is just another dead Kubon.
Oh, Kubon. He needs to transform at a minimum if he wants to survive from this one, but he's not quite there yet. Pepinero.
He shows his face, comes in with the Spirit Rush, and that's just another easy kill on to the Gnar in the top lane. Kubon 0-4 now, has opted towards the Brutalizer, and is just easy meals, free meals all day.
Giants are just saying, hey, Kubon, we know you were in the LCS, but we're not going to let you get back there, because 0-4 in 11 minutes into this game on Gnar, who has just been consistently picked as one of the top laners. Giants have adapted well. They read this Gnar was going to come out, and Reason just haven't done anything against this Giants lineup.
And they are lagging further and further behind. Frederick is actually just chilling out in the Reason Gaming jungle. Doesn't feel anything from them right now. Takefun just does a little bit of damage with the distance attack combo. Force him to flag and drag over the wall back to his own territory, at least into the river. Hook does not land in the bot lane. Both supports as well have picked up mobility boots here, so they'll still be looking to roam around. Frederick goes right back into the jungle. You'll not hear any more Takefun, and now I'll be able to put out this pressure. Xayoo, as you mentioned before, Stress, has now picked up the Spirit Stone, but Vision isn't going to help you too much when your lanes are just so far behind.
Yeah, Vision isn't going to do that much at all. But so Kubon at this point, his jump is actually about 15 seconds on cooldown, and Werlyb's leap strike is 9. So there's this window where, you know, Kubon's just going to get jumped on time and time again. Now that Empower is up at rank 5 after Werlyb is level 9, you can see just one leap strike into a couple of attacks is enough, but Kubon is reading this better. He's going to transform. This might be what he needs here.
Oh, Hop looking for the ultimate here. We will be moving into the ultimate form, gets the wallop down and slams him against the wall. So even 0-4, he picks up the kill 1-on-1 against Werlyb.
That's the strength of Gnar when you can balance your rage bar. You can see he just picks up a 1v1 kill. This is a little bit strange for this game. The top laners have been killing each other so easily 1v1, but it's all due to the beginning of the game when that very early gank out from Frederick straight after the Krugs put Jax in the lead. But that'll be a good build-up for Reason now. Kubon maybe will have a little bit more confidence here.
Yeah, definitely has more fight in him than Werlyb maybe assumed. But now he doesn't have the teleport, and Dragon is potentially a thing as the wards are now going down from both teams. You can see Rydle just warding up here. We're placing down the pink ward as well around the backside. Adryh in the bot lane, getting harassment down onto Libik. Werlyb also has the teleport if they need to get in here. But look at the AD carries. Talking about Adryh, he's significantly ahead of his counterpart of Celaver. Around 20 CS here, and you can see that reflected in the gold totals. Almost 1,000 gold ahead of Celaver.
Yeah, almost 1,000 gold, but this bottom lane for for Giants. Just got hooked in.
Oh, Libik gets hooked here, but there's the black shield. Xayoo's trying to get in range, just changing to spider form, trying to get the cocoon down. He'll have to change back to human form here. Werlyb teleports in from the top lane, jumps in, does get cocooned, and will be dragged in. Doesn't land the death sentence. He'll just walk on happily out of this engagement. Takefun moves in from the mid lane, tries to get in range with dissonance, but they're already on their way out.
Yeah, they are going to be able to back away from that. So a little bit of, you know, getting caught out of Rydle, but nothing really too bad comes from that. But Trinity Force was completed onto Adryh a little while back, whereas Ezreal is opting for that Trinity Force plus tier build that we saw in a previous game. Celaver has to be careful.
Oh, Werlyb from the bush appears, and he goes down. Surprise, I'm Jax.
Yeah, surprise. Exactly. Wow, 1-1-5 now on Jax, but Kubon certainly has taken it upon himself to make sure they get something from this, because the dragon is being traded away currently.
Yeah, and Giants will be picking this one up as well. Their dragon control has been superb in the in every game we've seen them, actually. Another 15-minute dragon goes down to the team of Giants. Top lane, Kubon bats away at the turret, eventually manages to take that one out, evens up the total just a little bit. So the long-term investment, though, by Giants, that first dragon buff will start paying dividends the later we get into this game.
When was the last time you saw a Jax have a completed Trinity Force this early on in a game?
It's been a while.
Very often. Yeah. Normally you see Jax just completely get demolished early on, and it is a little while before he gets that. But oh, that isn't going to help. Frederick's going to have to tank up a couple more hits here as Pepinero. A little bit late to the blue buff, but you can see it was all under control. But yeah, that is a very early Trinity Force, and a double Trinity Force spike that Giants now have for themselves, as they are really turning up the heat here on Reason Gaming. And from there, what do Reason have to do? They have to get the composition working for them. They have to get into a team fight and get Kubon involved. Have him come down with the rage meter built up, come in Mega Gnar form, and just throw 3 people into a wall and clean up from that.
Yeah, Frederick actually has to be a little careful about his Catechism placement so that he doesn't set his own team up to be hit by the Gnar ultimate. I know we were joking about it before, but that's a very real thing that they have to think about, especially if it's open ground and there's no other terrain for Kubon to utilize. But Xayoo now here in the top lane, maybe thinking of a gank, but Werlyb is already on his way out, thinking of something else he wants to pick up, so he won't be able to get ganked here by Xayoo. And maybe moving towards the middle lane. There are a bunch of wards there from the team of Reason Gaming, so they should be seen out. Xayoo here, maybe caught in here. Here comes the Cataclysm, but Werlyb was not reading from the same hymn sheet because he'll only be now coming in. Doesn't get the counter-strike off. The repel comes up, but Xayoo will be falling regardless. He goes down. Kubon in the bot lane, though. He did teleport into this fight. Rydle is dropping low, looking for that ultimate. He doesn't even need it, though. He already used it. And that will be Celaver jumping underneath the turret onto Adryh. What were you thinking? Tries to just go overboard with the bloodlust, and a 3-for-1 so far for Giants.
Kills across the map, 3-for-1. Adryh not done.
People are just trying to 1v1 Adryh continuously, and Adryh may have been able to pick up a kill there. In fact, he'll try to go for this one again. Does have those missile barrages.
Yeah, and they're picking up a mid turret in the process, and the reason they can pick up this mid turret is because Pepinero killed Takefun 1 versus 1 again in this series. He's done it far too many times for me to count right now. That is Takefun's first death for this game, but we'll take another look at it. Actually, you can see that Takefun did manage to flash out of the charm, but Pepinero has a lot of damage in this kit and has another charge of the ultimate saved up.
Yeah, the flash into the last charge of Spirit Rush takes him down. Oh, Corki also died apparently.
Yeah.
Is that 1v1 to Libik?
That's a very interesting prospect, but I don't think that's the only thing, because Werlyb is getting chased out of his upper side jungle as well. Oh,
boomerang toss will land on here, gets the hyper movement speed buff as well, and last boomerang to the face will take him down as he's running away. Pepinero moving into this engage here, does have a Spirit Rush once again. Frederick moving into the mid lane, but both mid lanes do have their ultimates, so about 20 CS advantage. We're actually going to see that one again. All right, I'm very interested in this one.
Yeah, so I just actually watched this on my screen as well. Libik sees Adryh come into the lane, stops his recall. And Adryh, I don't think, was expecting this too much here. And Ignite gets put down. Flash into the hook. Libik with the flashy plays. 1 versus 1. When was the last time you saw a support killer and an AD carry 1v1? Libik certainly making this first pick Thresh work for a reason, but... Oh, Pepinero again.
Oh, he lands the charm onto Xayoo, takes him down with the orb. Now Kubon takes a huge amount of damage from the Foxfires. and the ultimate, of course, coming in for the damage. Takefun now only arriving to the top lane, straggler to the fight. Another 1-0 picks left, right, and center for Giants. They're such an aggressive team. And Reason Gaming are just finding it hard to find a footing in any of these games we've seen in this series, and indeed the series that we saw them last.
Yeah, 4-0-1 now on Pepinero, and you can see that even just this Ahri is just so comfortable for him. He got behind last game, still had a massive effect on the game. This game he's ahead, opting for that Deathfire Grasp into Rabadon's build, and honestly, it's just too much to handle for Reason right now, just across the board. All of the lanes for Giants just are doing so well right now. 181 CS to 144 in the bottom lane, 144 to 114 in the top, and Pepinero, we already talked about how far ahead he is.
So Dragon spawning in over 1 minute's time, so preemptive wards will go down. You can see that Giants put a significant amount of vision in the opposing jungle here. In fact, most of the vision is in the very south jungle, you can see in this quadrant of the map. Xayoo is now wandering in circles, maybe thinking of the bot lane, maybe looking for a counter as well. Can see that Pepinero is in his jungle, clearing away wards. And with that value pink ward sitting right there, they are getting control of this area of the map. Now 45 seconds remaining, and they are really stepping up their vision game.
Yeah, you can see Kubon again took a lot of damage from Werlyb, and Werlyb is just confident to just go in all the time as long as Kubon isn't about to transform. That means he can go in, and Xayoo has been spotted out, and that turret is soon to fall, but Rydle hooked in.
Well, Cocoon into Death Sentence. Rydle should be falling here. Xayoo also drops very low. Adryh will get caught out. Oh, LEB comes in from the top lane, takes him down with the leap strike. Now Celaver is under attack. So much damage from the empowered autos. He will get the double here. Adryh is still chasing after Libik. John has now joined the party. Now Pepinero from the mid lane. He takes down Thresh. 3 for 1 so far. Takefun is caught in the middle of this team from Giants. Not sure if they want the dive though.
Great teleport out of Werlyb. Knew he could pick up a couple of kills from that situation, and Ezreal normally should be able to get away from it. Oh,
Kubon, that was the wrong way to go. That jungle does not belong to you anymore. At least he got the ward down.
Oh, Reason are just falling apart here in this game. You can see Werlyb is just picking up kill after kill. The rest of Giants are just so far ahead, and that dragon has just spawned as well. Adryh looking for a solo kill on Takefun.
He's looking for the one-on-one, but gets shockwaves, and Takefun will have to flash away from the engagement. He didn't have anything else. He has already used his Ignite. Flank, drag, Cataclysm, dunk for the kill.
Frederick doesn't even contemplate going for the dragon because he knows he can follow up from Adryh there, and Xayoo looks to chase on here, but Werlyb is around. You can see he crossed towards Xayoo is the only one that seems to want to go for this. Chilling Smite has been used. Werlyb is still here. If they get the kill, they risk him turning on them.
But Kubon has teleported from the top lane. Remember, this is a very scary Jax, but Adryh gets caught out here. Great hook from Libik. Pepinero was into this fight, but he's completely out of mana. He burnt the last of it on those Foxfires. Werlyb juking down to the left-hand side. Should be able to get away here. He's actually pinging on towards the middle lane. And he will actually carry on pushing, and they're still kiting them away. Kubon now in mega form. They're still chasing them down, but is it worth it though? Jackson's still pushing the mid lane. Pepinero will be dropping down, or will he? Yes, he will. Shutdown comes out for Kubon from the top lane. Xayoo gets caught out by Rydle. Even in the midst of defeat, he's still able to land those dark bindings.
Bit of weird decision-making from Werlyb that just chose to kind of run into mid, and the rest of Giants looked to somewhat re-engage to buy Werlyb some time, but Orianna showed up. And just reasonably going to take a fair amount from that. A good teleport out from Kubon was able to finally bring him into this game again. He's now at 4-5-1, so for as bad a start as he's had, he has now got a couple of kills under his belt, and now is into the period of the game where this Gnar-Orianna combo can start to become very effective, but they cannot let Werlyb get too much at the same time.
And do they have enough to really stop Werlyb? Because he'll want to go for the split pushes. So of course, we see the 4-1 split push again. But Kubon is doing better now, has 4-5-1, as you mentioned, Stress, but he's still far behind Werlyb. So in a one-on-one, we'll see how that goes, but you can see that reflected in the items.
Yeah, and it's not quite the items, but the gold between the two. Werlyb is actually set on 2,500 gold now, so he'll finish up that Blade of the Ruined King and likely work towards the Randuin Zone and maybe get himself some magic resist at the same time. We'll see exactly what he ends up picking up, but that makes him very much more difficult. Celaver does secure the blue buff, makes him very much more difficult to kill now.
Yeah, we'll be able to arcane shift a little bit faster with the added cooldown reduction. Pepinero having some troubles with his own blue buff. We'll be resetting here, and he just had to take it down with the autos. There we go. So we'll be going back to base, picking up his own items, going for the same build that we saw last time from Adryh, in fact, on the Ezreal. I picked up that Trinity Force first, and has now picked up the Morgana, or rather the Mana Moon, which will be turning into a Morgana. Rydle trying to follow up into Xayoo, has the Razor Sharp buff, so able to instantly clear that one away. But as soon as Werlyb enters an area, no one wants to get near from reason.
And for very good reason, if you, well, again, pardon the pun, that is really annoying. I've got to find a new word for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Werlyb at this point is just incredibly strong. And honestly, reason, I've got to try and find some sort of answer to it. You heard Dexter talking about it in the pre-game or post-game that, you know, to beat a Jax that's ahead, you have to try and use teleport. It's very high-level play, and make sure that you're getting more from a fight.
Pepinero caught out by the charm, will be using the Spirit Rush, jukes into the Krugs, and Kubon managed to finish him up with the toss, but there's the hook onto Rydle. He doesn't have the Black Shield. He will also get cocooned within the Spider's web. Xayoo takes him down, but of course there's a Jax in the middle lane.
Of course there is. He is going to get this turret as well. The minions will fall. He'll be happy enough to just tank this up for now. Adryh's still around. He got Takefun. Xayoo
was busy recalling. He'll turn around. Chilling Smite comes down, but he'll juke for the vision. Gets the kill in the 1-on-2. So that was a 1-on-1 trade. Werlyb now jumping away. In fact, he didn't die somehow from that laser and the pressure. He took down the turret. Libik is still on the chase. Can he go for this another 1-on-1 kill? He thought that the hook was going to land, but Werlyb was able to leap strike away onto that pink ward.
Adryh just kind of stuck around and took a 2v1, killed one, and got, you know, a lot of damage put on him from the Brambleback as well. But, you know, Giants just gave up a lot, but they got an inhibitor tower for it. So that is going to be an open wound here for Werlyb to turn his attention to, potentially the rest of the team too, and then Werlyb just sits in another lane. So you have to think that Giants will somewhat take that in this position in the game, because they are significantly far ahead right now.
Yeah, so in this game, around 9,000 gold ahead for Giants Gaming, for Giants rather, 5-1 in the turret, so they are firmly ahead. As you mentioned, there's that open wound in the middle lane in the form of that inhibitor, which is completely exposed. That will be open ground if Giants want to go for a team fight there. In the mid lane, 40 CS ahead, and you can see that in the items again. Free item advantage coming in here to have the Death Cap, the Deathfire Grasp, and the Void Staff, as opposed to just the Fiends and Holy Grail as a completed item. Is on his way to the Death Cap, but is seriously lagging behind Pepinero.
Lots of deep wards out from Giants in that lower side already, but they haven't really managed to clear the vision out from Reason at the same time. So you can see Frederick was trying to do that, but Xayoo just defending his wards as best as he can. And Giants need to make sure they know exactly where Reason are, because Giants have been caught out a couple of times in this bottom side jungle with Rydle getting hooked in, and nearly gets hooked in again. Could have spelled danger, but he had the Black Shield anyway.
In the bottom lane, Adryh and Rydle will be clearing up this minion wave. The rest of the team is coming in from the flank, though. Will they be able to get this fight down? Because Frederick is here. There's the flag and drag. Will be hooked immediately, though. The box comes down. That will force Frederick to flash away. The ball wasn't in range for a shockwave. Kubon now coming into this fight. Meanwhile, on the top lane, there is the split push Jax, as there always is, up against Xayoo here. Will be trying to stop him by clearing up this minion wave, but Elise doesn't have the most wave clear in the world, but Werlyb decides to back off anyway.
Yeah, but they're just... Ooh, that is a lot of damage from that Orianna now, has finally been able to get into this game. But they've already just got an uncontested tower from it. And Giants, all they lost was a little bit of health and didn't really fall. So the more time they can buy Werlyb...
Oh, Pepinero jumps in. He will get hooked, though. Last tower shot, it will take him down in return. That was a fantastic hook from Libik before the Black Shield went in.
Werlyb is looking for a position. He was maybe thinking of coming down to the fight. Kubon is in Mega Gnar, so Werlyb actually... I thought he wanted to take that for a second, and I was going to say he's quite tanky. So you maybe not want to take that head on, but you can just wait that out and head back into the middle lane once he's done, or maybe even top lane. Werlyb is actually managing to push in 2 lanes at a time, which is quite effective here against Reason. They're having to send multiple people to deal with him, and he's just bouncing between top and mid again and again.
It's probably the biggest nightmare you could ever face in League of Legends. Multiple Jaxes split pushing. And right now it's just Werlyb who's able to do the job of 2 people. Takefun and Kubon moving into the top lane. They'll be able to clear this out by themselves, but if we had the 4-1 split push, then it would be a 3 versus 5 against Giants, and this is a serious issue that Reason Gaming have to deal with and think about how they're going to deal with it in the coming minutes. Dragon has now spawned, though, and the two teams are moving around it. At least Reason Gaming, 3 of their members are doing so. Rydle has started this off, and Giants will try to take away this dragon for themselves.
Yeah, Frederick isn't quite there, though, so they have to be a little careful with this. They did, however, spot 2 people up in the top side. Two-shot barrage comes through, not quite enough.
Oh, but Xayoo will just smite it away because Frederick is not even there. So Xayoo will take that away, and that will be their 2nd dragon of the game.
So Frederick did Merc Wolves and then just wasn't there in time. Okay, that was what happened. Fair enough, I guess. Yeah, okay. I would have liked to have seen them get that dragon. That'll go a fair way for Reason. But not quite sure why Frederick didn't come straight down to dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't benefit them all that much because it's tower pushing that it will give them, and so far they can't get anywhere near a tower to push it.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be too bad. I mean,
no, it's not bad, and they won't be unhappy with it, especially denying it from Giants at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key thing, is Giants have been denied their tower pushing, and if there's one thing that Jax has been doing already, and it is split pushing, and that would go a long way to help out the Giants lineup and make it very difficult for Reason actually to compete. So Xayoo will get gifted that dragon out by Giants.
I feel like Giants is getting a little too comfortable in this game because that was just the AD carry and support taking it. That's something, remember, when you had the old dragon, it would be like, yeah, the AD carry can take that by himself. But now when dragons really matter in terms of getting those consecutively, Giants need to pay more attention to that and make sure Frederick is there with the smite. But take a look at this. In the top lane, Jax has almost hit critical mass of Jax because he's got his 2 damage items and he has his Guardian Angel. Yeah,
that's an early Guardian Angel as well. We've seen him opt for, you know, either magic resist items or armor items, but this time he's gone, I'm going to get both, and I'm going to make sure that whoever is 1v1ing me is going to fall at the end of it, because if you manage to kill him once, not that very likely that you're going to be on that much health at the end of it. So Werlyb is a massive problem now, but they have to kind of push that top lane in. It's still quite a way out towards them, and Giants, they're trying to force this middle turret in, or middle inhibitor in, and Werlyb is with the team, which is not all that standard for when you see a Jax in a game. Would like to see them perhaps set up bottom lane push, but Takefun did just get locked down.
Yeah, he takes the binding, will also take the charm, but that's a lot of shielding from Libik as well. Will be coming in, not at the face of the mountain, doesn't have the item completed just yet, but was able to shield himself as well. Rydle very close to being hooked there. Epanero and Adryh supplying the poke. Werlyb will be jumping away from that explosive volatile spiraling. Rydle takes a lot of damage here, will be spell immune away from that last cocoon coming through, but takes a mystic shot. That'll be physical damage. That'll be going right through the shield. Bottom tower's dropping very quickly, but they have to be careful about this one. Rydle was basically a spare part in this engagement. He's very low HP, but Werlyb is looking for the engagement, and I thought that was a Grand Skyfall and then realized it was Elise. I was like, oh, Pantheon's going in.
So many Pantheons in this series, but no. So Giants managed to get the turret from that. They will take that advantage. The problem is with the whole team moving down, Reason kind of just come down and defend it, and that top lane is still pushing up for Reason Gaming, so Werlyb now has to go all the way up to top lane. It releases a lot of the pressure that Reason were under, and now Reason can kind of sort their lanes out for themselves. So I would have liked to have seen Giants maybe to pressure multiple areas. They really need to do that, as that is their advantage right now, as they can't really take the team fight against Reason Gaming head on.
Yeah, especially underneath an inhibitor turret, because those things pack a punch. Yeah. Charging up to quite a lot of damage over time.
At this point, Giants do have to be careful of the risk that Reason just 5v4.
Yeah.
And then Werlyb has to come across, by which time the ultimates have already landed. But if Reason don't play that game, if they send somebody across, hook lands onto Peppy.
Epanero has been caught out, also gets stunned down by the cocoon. That's just a dead Epanero. Ward save lives and also kill Epaneros.
Yeah, he pinged down onto it as well. I don't think he was aware that he was standing on that, was waiting for somebody to come across. But Giants have kind of slowed down a little bit. They are looking to try and finish this game out, and we know they've somewhat struggled with that. The analyst desk was talking about that Giants sometimes just, lack that killer instinct, that final bit to take a game home, but it does draw the games out a little bit long, and Werlyb will be comfortable with that on Jax.
Yeah, Giants always start off really strong in terms of the aggression. They're all about getting those kills. We saw like 8 kills going down in like the first 5 minutes. But after that, they definitely slow the pace of the game down. And that does benefit Werlyb. So you can't necessarily say that's the worst play in the world. It just means that it will go on for a little bit longer and it will give Reason Gaming some breathing room that they may not necessarily otherwise want to give them.
Yeah, that's one of the things, is it gives Reason opportunities to come back into the game, rather than when you see a team get ahead, they stay ahead. I mean, you look at a team like SK Telecom in the preseason games. When they've been getting ahead, they've just been completely dominating the map. And the games have been very one-sided over in OGN for that. And I guess to some extent, I'm happy that we have these back-and-forth games, but it's certainly not back and forth because everything is quite a cut and dry, as we see sometimes. But it does make them exciting, especially with that first game. Frederick does get hooked in, but the rest of the team is not around for Libik. Yeah,
Libik lands the hook. Bit too tanky of a target this time around to prioritize. XPepii was the perfect target for them to take down. This time he has his flash and his Spirit Rush, so it'll be a little harder to pin down. Owen is building towards the Zhonya's Hourglass as well, which will even help towards that if his reactions are on point. Bot lane, though, as well, Adryh is still way ahead in farm, and now maybe like 15 minutes since we last saw him, he is about 100 CS ahead. Werlyb in the mid lane, jumps over the wall, takes down Takefun. Now looks for another flash, another leap strike onto Celaver, looking just to be the one-man army to take down both of the carries on the enemy team. Frederick now chasing after Libik, and Xayoo pins them in place, keeps them within that Cataclysm. They also have to flash out of that one. Adryh is now taking point, he's very aggressive, he'll have to flash away. Kubon jumps over the wall, only gets his ultimate onto one person, turns around, gets the Werlyb, crunches onto XPepii. He jumps in but gets decimated by the laser. Kubon will also drop the 5-for-1.
That is an amazing fight out of Giants. Werlyb just detonates Orianna before the fight even begins, and from there they got the numbers advantage. They'll pick up the inhibitor from that as well. Werlyb is such a big issue that nobody can deal with him at all. You talked about the Cataclysm there, really nicely locking in two members from Reason, and again Kubon could only get his ultimate onto one person, and it was Frederick, who on his own isn't a high value target. He's not really doing all that much past that Cataclysm anyway.
Yeah, if Giants catch Reason Gaming off guard, they can't use the Shockwave in the right place, they can't use the Kubon ultimate in the right place, and that's exactly what we see happening. Takefun is respawned from base and is now hovering around the Baron pit, but it's already gone down. Ezreal ultimate comes through, might be able to catch someone on the way out.
Ooh, improved recall.
Yeah, teleports out of that one, 4 seconds on that recall, takes him out of range of the True Shot barrage, which just flies off the map.
Oh man, that was a fast Baron as well, just with that much damage coming out from Giants. You can see down that lineup, they are just so far ahead in all aspects. 35? No, that's 350 CS on Corki to 245. Reason they're going to look to answer with a dragon for themselves. This would be dragon number 3 for Reason. It looks like they aren't going to get it. So that is a little bit of a saving grace, but with a Baron now on Giants, with this staggering lead of 16,000 gold nearly. The Reason, I don't think a third dragon is going to be enough to hold this.
Yeah, probably not. If it was a 5th dragon, even then we'd probably have the same questions in our mind. Stress, will they be able to hold on? 7 towers to 1 in those objectives. Adryh in the top lane. Look at that big minion wave, all buffed up by the Baron buff as well. They'll be most likely trying to ride this wave into the tower, see what damage they can do. And those big cannon minions completely outranging it. Ezreal ultimate will come across here. Frederick looking for the engage, but he's well ahead of his team. He may be taken down before this fight even really starts, but he'll sacrifice his life to take down the inhibitor turret for the rest of his team. XPepii turns around, gets the damage onto Xayoo. This is still a 4v5, remember.
It is, and the hook doesn't land. Giants is still going to take the inhibitor. Werlyb going in.
He jumps into 4 people and is getting chunked down by that Nexus turret laser. He's dropping low. We'll go into that Guardian Angel. Rydle has to back off here. Can they defend him as he comes back up? The answer is a no. Gnar ultimate comes in for good measure. Rydle as well also gets called out. We'll be using the ultimate, the Soul Shackles, but they're burning stuff and not getting anything for it. A 3-for-0 so far. Yes, they lost their inhibitor, but if they can take something big off it, it will absolutely be worth.
Far too aggressive out from Giants. Reason will take it.
Oh, turns around with the chop. Almost takes him down with a missile barrage. Kubon will be surviving just here. Let's get a bit see if there's the ultimate that lands onto the minions, but those are all being buffed by the Baron buff, remember. 80% damage reduction from that one, and even the True Shot barrage can't take it down.
Man, I'm not sure. Frederick just goes aggressive into the fight and dies immediately. Same Werlyb does a very similar thing into the Nexus turrets, and this is very reminiscent of what Reason did in the last game. Giants are ahead, They don't need to make that kind of play to get themselves the win here. They already have a Jax who's ahead. They have a very strong Corki and Ahri right now. Just siege up the turret. There isn't really too much that Reason can do about it with that much, you know, defensive stats on the minions. It's just a matter of time of grinding them down. And it would be Giants stamping their names into the LCS, but they made a bit of a mistake on that one. I feel like they really didn't need to engage.
Yeah, they need to be a lot cleaner with how they approach the end of this game, how they try to finish this one out, because Reason Gaming, if you put a foot too far forwards, they will turn around and they will absolutely punish you for it. Takefun on that Orianna, we've already seen from N-Faculty, I believe, when there was that big 5-man shockwave, almost turned the game around. But a team like Reason Gaming here in the lower bracket finals, one of these two teams will be heading to the LCS. So far, it does look like it will be Giants, but Reason Gaming, there is life in them yet.
The Baron buff has worn off and, of course, did get taken out on a good few members of Giants. So it's a little bit more tricky for them to end, but they are still significantly far ahead. Jax is heading up to the top lane. This is what Giants need to do. They need to draw Reason across their base and make sure that Jax can just be left alone now. There's nothing really up in that top side of the map. He's going to start pushing even faster to get those super minions into the Nexus turrets, and Giants can just wait it out down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Kubon has been the designated Jax handler. We'll see how well he does against that Jax. He's now in mega form, so he's significantly more tanky. Bot lane trying to clear this out as much as they can. Werlyb now here just looking for that potential flank if that's a possibility. Wallop coming down, trying to clear out these minions, but Kubon is not all that successful, especially with these super minions draining in, and they are up against the clock.
Yeah, they are. Werlyb just wasted time from Kubon's Mega Gnar there to just draw him back down to the bottom and back up to the top side. And at that point, there's an inhibitor coming up, and Werlyb will be able to deal with it. How much do Reason commit to this? Because that inhibitor is already gone, and now they push into the bottom lane. Are Reason going to answer? They have to fight for LCS.
Flag and drag. Here comes the Cataclysm coming in. Libik will be falling here, but that's a 1-for-1. They make that 2-for-0 for Giants coming in here. They do so much damage. The big AP carry is down. Xayoo is off to the backside. This is just too messy of a team fight. Kubon will be going into mega form again, but he's shut down by Werlyb. A lamp to the face, and now Adryh will be coming in here, finishing off Celaver on the spawn pad. Giants, all you need to do is take down the Nexus turret. First one goes down, second one goes down. The Nexus itself will be falling, and Giants secure the 10th spot in the LCS.
Giants just did not let up in this entire series. Never did they look behind, and that is 6-0 against Reason Gaming. And Giants have stamped their way into the European LCS.
A phenomenal series by them. 3-0 in this series, as you mentioned, 6-0 overall. Giants showing how dominant they were in this series, and indeed this tournament, and bounced back well from their defeat yesterday from H2K. Giants have shown that they're a team that have that mental fortitude.
They've got a lot of promise as well. When you look at a couple of players on the lineup, Pepinero certainly making a case for himself in some of the games. I think Werlyb actually, there's a lot to be said. First picking Jax so many games and being able to do well on it is a big factor. And Adryh just consistently throughout all of the games doing a great job. Just in general, I'm looking forward to seeing how Giants can grow as a team here as we head towards the 2015 spring season.
Yeah, I'd be really impressed by Rydle as well. No matter really what champion he's been on, he's always able to land, whether it's a death sentence or a dark binding, he always makes them count. It's just great play across the board, and every player outside of Pepinero and Frederick showing that they can pull the weight in the team.
Yeah, indeed. You can see how happy they are about making LCS. And, Spring Split is heating up here in Europe. We've locked all 10 of our teams in for LCS, and I absolutely cannot wait for the Spring Split.
Yeah, H2K and Giants now joining the roster. 10 teams now in the LCS. But thank you for joining us, guys. That's now the end of the EU LCS expansion tournament. And that's all from us here at the caster desk. I'm Richard Pauls Cam, of course, alongside